Good afternoon, everyone. So pretty much a little bit about myself. Like James was saying, I've now been doing personal training since 2008. Since that point, it was always about scaling the business. It was always about how I was able to provide a better service in terms of take on more clients, give them a better service. And what I quickly realized as a one-to-one personal trainer very quickly, there was a ceiling to the business in terms of how many clients I could actually take on at one point. There was a ceiling where I was able to charge more value for the hour I was working with clients. So when I first started personal training, charging anywhere between 20 and 25 pounds an hour. There was a point where I was doing probably about 40 or 50 hours per week. And the only way to scale for myself was to charge more. Obviously, 8-10 years later, the value of what I was charging then from 20 to 25 pounds an hour has escalated all the way up from 125 to 150 pounds an hour. And even at that point, the income was good, but the hours were still there. I was still doing anywhere between 40 or 50 hours per week. And so 6 or 7 years ago, I decided there must be a different avenue. There was only so many hours. I realized that there was a ceiling to the business, and so I took my business online. I started to kind of realize 70% of my business was one-to-one, 30% of the business was now online. And it was a case that, right, okay, how was I able to replicate the service that I was giving my clients on a one-to-one experience? How was I going to deliver that online? And so very quickly, I started to transform and create all the systems that I was using on a one-to-one basis, dealing with clients' nutrition, dealing with clients' training, dealing with clients' communication, their fulfillment, their accountability, the community aspect. As every year, it was developing that system to try and improve what I was doing more and more so. And again, I found there was another ceiling. I'd reached a point where I was now only doing probably 20 to 30 hours in the gym, but I was now taking on another 30, 40 clients online, and I was spending far more time online, far more time delivering a service to those clients, that it was taking up far more time, and I found that the one-to-one was actually a lot easier. I then started to really scratch my head, and there was a ceiling, and if I wanted the business to continue growing, there was either going to be two avenues. I was either going to need to start building a team and having staff and other coaches and other trainers around me, or I was going to need to come up with systems. And so for me, looking at, especially with a lot of personal trainers, we spend a lot of time on social media, we spend a lot of time online trying to attract clients and showcasing our business to the full. And so I saw that massive opportunity that Facebook had built up a massive community. There was a lot of people, there was a lot of engagement, there was a lot of interaction. The last couple of years, Facebook's kind of gone a wee bit quieter, and Instagram has really came into flourishing. And so I started to look at all the applications that I was using to propel my business online. Marketing, I was using a lot of social media. Instagram, nutrition, I was using different apps from MyFitnessPal. The client fulfillment, I was using a lot of different spreadsheets, Google, stuff like that. I was using all these other systems to really propel my business forward. And I wondered whether there was a way for myself to streamline all of this. Instead of having clients on Google, instead of having clients on Facebook, instead of having clients on Instagram, instead of having clients go to the website, is how could I actually streamline all these different avenues to provide a service where I could have all my clients in one place. We could look at the client fulfillment, so their nutrition was in one place. We could look at the training was in one place. We could look at all the education that I was having on my website, all the video tutorials, everything. That what I found was the website was great, but with the way technology is now and the way that people are, a lot of people do things on their phone. A lot of people like convenience. A lot of people, we live in a day and age now where people get next day delivery, where people want results yesterday before they've even started. People are already looking for an easier avenue. And so rather than go to a website, rather than go online, it was so much more easier and convenient now with the popularity, especially I looked at Instagram. Instagram on the website is really poor. And so a lot of Instagram success was purely on the app. Again, probably same as MyFitnessPal. I started to see a trend that, you know what, a lot of companies that are massively successful are producing these successes through their business from an app, from the application. It was easy. The interactive in terms of the functionality of it was so much more streamlined. It was a lot more basic. It was a lot easy. And it meant that because of that, that a lot more people were now engaging. A lot more people were finding that, you know what, the app now is providing a far more lucrative function where there's less traffic to navigate, there's less things to look at. And so for me now, going forward, it was all the applications, all the processes that I was using to take my business online. Was I able to do that with an app? So obviously sitting down with James and sitting down with the team, it was pretty much letting them know this is where my idea is, this is where my business is at. It has been growing for the last 14 or 15 years. There has been a lot of developments that I've spent probably the early part of my career developing my own skill. So my own nutritional knowledge, my own training knowledge, supplementation knowledge. I was then progressing that into my own physique. So obviously I'd done a lot of competitions. I've won a lot of different shows. So it was now looking at, in terms of my business, is how could I come up with something that was really going to allow me to go not fully online, but predominantly online, where I could use this in the gym environment with my clients. I could use this in an online platform with clients. I could come up with a streamlined process that could manage clients' diary, it could manage clients' payments, could manage clients' fulfillment, so nutrition, could manage clients' training, could give them all the experience that I was giving them on a one-to-one basis. And so I sat down with James and team and said, look, this is where I'm at. I would really love to transfer a lot of the service that I was giving my clients on a one-to-one basis. I would love to do that in a digital platform. And if I could, what that would allow me to do is, if the systems were in place, yes, at some point down the line, I'm going to need to be able to get staff, but the systems itself is going to allow me to scale my business a lot further than what I could manually myself. Without even getting staff on board. So if it meant, probably the difference for me is if I could get a staff of 3 or 4, keep that low community environment, that low team environment, I could probably manage 4 staff far superior than I could manage a team of 50. But having the app there itself is now going to allow me to scale to a far superior level, where probably I would say my maximum capacity online dealing with clients is probably about 100 clients. If I've got a team of 4, that could be scaled anywhere between 300, 400, 500. And even for me, speaking to James and the guys now, is that it was no longer just about me. I started to realize very quickly, again, that this has been the trend along my full career. The one-to-one business model had a ceiling. My online business model had a ceiling. This app model has probably got a ceiling in terms of, if I wanted to continue scaling, I would need more and more staff. And so what I decided was, if I could utilize this for myself, it was something that was massively successful and I've proven it to work and take my business to that pretty much high level. Is this something that other coaches and other personal trainers in the industry could utilize for themselves? So now we've came up with a business model that, again, probably doesn't have as big a ceiling as what I would manually myself with my online clients. It doesn't have as big a ceiling as I would on a one-to-one platform. So now it's given me the real opportunity as to how I can really scale my business to a high level. And not only that, one-to-one personal training for me was a localized business. It was a face-to-face and in-person business. My online, to a certain degree, was more of a global business, but again, it was more so that people who knew me around the UK were able to then get in contact with me through social media, and that was allowing me to market, again, my services. Could I have marketed online on a global fashion? 100%, but that's probably going to take a lot more manpower. It's going to take a lot more marketing than what I was already doing. And so now with the app, it's probably going to allow me to showcase that success from other trainers, other coaches. It's going to give them back a lot of time. It's going to reduce their stress. it's going to allow them to expand their own business to a far greater degree than what they could normally, and make it very streamlined, make it very easy, make it very user and client friendly, to the point that clients are going to be able to get that service and delivery from them that they potentially couldn't have got before on an online platform. And that's probably the main, what I've tried to look at is the main challenges, the main pitfalls that I had as a trainer, is something that every other trainer I see has the exact same challenges. And I think that for a lot of you guys, and depending on what industry you're at, is it's looking at the common trends, it's looking at the common demands, the common challenges that most people will have. And for me as a personal trainer, that challenge was always, how am I going to scale my business without requiring far more time? And that was going to require a lot of systems in place. So that was where the application for me really allowed me to then say, do you know what? I could take everything I'm already doing, I could package it, I could streamline it, I could make it function friendly, user friendly, to the point that I could build a team within my own online coaching business and within the app itself. I can now scale this one step further by now allowing other coaches and personal trainers to use the app for their own business. So it's been it's been utilizing the shift from the industrial era now into the digital era, is especially with the pandemic, especially with this year. I said to James and the team, if there was any point that was going to be probably the turning point for most people, it was probably going to be this year.